Next, we are reviewing the multiplication of decimals. Please copy down the standard benchmark indicator on a clean page in your math notebook. Find the product of two numbers expressed as decimals through the thousands using paper and pencil. Multiplying decimals by decimals. For each product, write the decimal point in the correct place. 3.45 times 2.5, and then we have 8625. First, we find the number of decimal places in each factor. There are 2 places after the decimal in the first factor, plus 1 decimal place in the second factor, so we should have 3 places after the decimal in our answer. So that means the decimal point goes between the 8 and the 6. So then we estimate to check. 3 times 3 is 9. Our answer is close to 9. Follow the same steps to write the decimal point in the correct place for each product. So for number 1, we have 21 and 6/10 times 8/10. So we have 1 decimal place in each factor, so we should have 2 decimal places in our answer. So our decimal goes between the 7 and the 2. For number 2, we have 400 times 8. So we have 2 decimal places in the first number, 0 in the second, so we should have 2 in our answer. So our answer becomes 32 hundredths. Next, we're going to walk through each of these problems, show the work, and then put the decimal where it belongs in the answer. So we have 5 and 8 hundredths times 4/10. So the first thing we're going to do is just work out the math. So 4 times 8 is 32. We put the 2 down. We carried the 3. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. And then 4 times 5 is 20. Now we need to look at it. We have 2 decimal places in the first factor, 1 in the second. So we should have 3 in our answer, which means the decimal should go right after the first 2. For 4, we have 70 and 5/10 times 200. So we're going to walk through the math. We know that 2 times 5 is 10. And we put the 0 down. We'll carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. And then 2 times 7 is 14. Now we need to figure out where to place the decimal. We have 1 place after the decimal in our first factor, 2 in our second factor. So we should have 3 in our answer. So it's going to go after the first 1, but before the 4. For 5, we have 1 and 342 thousandths times 2 and 7/10. The first thing we're going to do is just multiply through by the 7. So 2 times 7 is 14. We carried the 1. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 is 29. We carried the 2. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2 is 23. So we put the 3 down, carried the 2. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. Now, because we're hopping to a new number that is to the left in a new place value position, we need to put a place holding 0 down before we start multiplying by the 2. We also want to cross out the numbers we carried so we know we've already used those and we don't get them mixed up if we have to carry it again. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. And then 2 times 1 is 2. Next, we're going to go through and add our 2 partial products. And now we need to figure out where our decimal goes. So if we look, we have 3 places after the decimal in the first number, 1 after the second number, so we should have 4 in our answer. So that means our decimal goes between the 3 and the 6. Finally, for the last problem, we have 9.08 times 4 hundredths. So we're going to multiply through by the 4 first. So 4 times 8 is 32. We put this 2 down, we carry the 3. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. And then 4 times 9 is 36. So now we need to figure out, where does our decimal go? Well, we have 2 decimal places in the first factor, 2 in the second, so we need 4 in our answer. So it goes before the first 3, and then we put a 0 on the front just so our decimal is not floating off by itself. Please make sure you have all the work copied down and glue this page in your math notebook.